Good. You left your briefcase here! 人間を滅ぼしたい？同じリングに立ちたくない？それってもしかしてですがビビってるんですか？もしそうであれば差し出がましいことをいたしました。
Good day guys, come here, welcome back to the second part of Langrisser M news from the future, featuring the month of May to June 2025, heroes and heroines release from the CN server. And well, in case you guys getting overhyped by the opening, well, sadly, to tell the truth, the answer is no, we're not getting a collaborations with ragnarok, nor are we getting a collaborations with Fullmetal Panic. But on this part of the video, the heroine that I will be showcasing you guys has very strong, striking similarities in terms of face and designs, and perhaps fans of those anime or comic series might agree with me. So are you guys ready for second part? Here we go. Sorry, before we carry on, a great thanks to information shared and provided by the Langrisser mobile app. So, and just on these pictures alone, for Fullmetal Panic series fans, or especially for me, I personally feel that the face, the art style of these characters looks fairly similar to the two female leading characters, either Chito Sen-san or Teresa from the shows, but well, each have their own, and I'm referring to their anime works. Then now to the full character design. So the design of the Valkyrie. So if you've seen Ragnarok, the female leading protagonist, Brunhilde, so you can see the feathers on the left side of the head, attaching to her ear. Then though she's not fully black dark, but long hair design, Valkyrie armor with long dress. Personally, for me, this is definitely a very close resemblance. Not that I'm gonna complain about it. I like it. It's just wow. And of course, if I gotta say, our Lady Valkyrie here is in fact much more sexier. So, in case you guys are wondering if there's a new characters from a new storyline or not, the answer is no. She is an existing character that has apparently appeared at the start of Echo of Toy War during the Sabre arc. She is the holy god and priestess guarding over action. So if you remember, a lady wearing a white priest costume, she seems like a Spartan. The design at the time looks kind of like a Valkyrie or Spartan holding onto spears, while she's fully covered from her head to her neck and only showcasing the face. So yeah, this is it. This is Leia, the trusty guards and friend of Ashen. So okay, she is voiced by none other than Miss Aya Endō-san, who has previously worked on some of the very famous series that some of you might be a great fan about it. So on the left, she voiced as one of the female leading characters, Miss Sherry Gnome from Across Frontier F, and on my right is one of our I'm not sure should I say the leading or supporting characters, but definitely not having as much main role than the blue hair female protagonist. She also voiced a character from this anime known as Lucky Stars. And apologies, I do not watch any of these works. So right, back to the game. So some backstories about it. So again, your style split into 3 parts. First part, background stories for the characters. Second part, characters, factions, skills, 3C, and third part, pros and cons and ways to abuse them, their abilities. And like her name says, her name is to be either pronounced as Rhea or Leah. So it's gonna be Leah or Reah. Either that is the L sounding of Langrisser in the Japanese version. So same as Elvis, Elu, and just Langrisser. So that's how you pronounce it in Japan. So definitely a very strong character. So, or at the least, she's not going to be weak. So right, background stories. Oh, she's not just a god, she's also a bishop. So we go through line by line. So the first line says, as a bishop in the kingdom of Saberic, and also a sword welder that is supposedly chosen by the Sword of Dawn. Second line, Leia right on a golden color Pegasus. She travels on the land of Saberic to fulfill and execute her queen's order, and the queen is none other than Ashen's queen's wills and order. She is a smart and decisive person and kind within. So that's on the third line as a loose translations. Number 4. However, even as a decisive hands of the queen, she also has a shy side, as the sounds of a flute rang while holding on to golden flowers in her hands. So not a very good part, but this is just a loose some translations about her personnel, so you can tell that she is definitely on the good side. So long story short, a more summarized is, as a bishop of Sab, she's not just a bishop, but not just being the bishop of the kingdom Saberic, but she is also one of the personnel that has been chosen by Sword of the Dawn herself. And you can tell that she's definitely different from others because the Pegasus she rode on is a golden steed of variance, a golden Pegasus. So she executes the queen's will and order throughout the land of Saberic for Ashen. So she is smart and decisive, but kind in nature, or at least described as she's kind within. Now, even as a person who works as the hands of the queen, she also have her affectionate and shy part. So it does mentions about the sound of a flute while she holds to golden flowers. It's not petals, golden flowers in the hands. So I might presume there is someone who adores or might fall in love with. Don't know, not sure if it's Prince Elvis, but the one that mentions here, of course, the English translations, Chinese got 废小之剑. If I'm not wrong, it refers to the sword that is previously held by Prince Elvis, and supposedly after his apparent death is currently being held by his current wife or fiancée, Tavares. So supposedly after the death of Prince Elvis, the sword should be held by her, but well, since Tavares took it away, so okay, characters she has relationship with. So first off we have action. Okay, so then say the first part, backstories, and followed by special speech, the one highlight in bold, blackboard is like a speech version, so this is just top as description. Leia has lost her family and hometown in the chaos uprising by the heresy, but she was saved by the young Princess Ashen back then, and Ashen sent her to the Holy Pegasus troop to receive battle techniques and educations. From that time onwards, Leia has sworn in her heart that she will swear loyalty to this young princess and to repay her benefactors for saving her life, and will fight for her will. Okay, so there's a quick backstories between Leia and Ashen. So the speech. So again, I gotta say that these just loose translations. I'm definitely not 100% accurate, but I'm trying my best. Okay, speech of truth about Leia to Ashen is, as we walk down this path, or as she walked down this path, her Empress Ashen has hold on all uncountable pressure on her thin and weak shoulder. And the only thing that I can do is I will use all I had to share some of her burden. Okay, so you can see brotherhood here, and sorry, cis-mans. Instead of bromance, we see some cis-mans. I'm not sure if this is a word. Between Leia to Ashen. Oh, with Hoffman. Okay, so backstories followed by speech. When the horn of invasion blows from the Empire, the current Princess Guard Leia has not fallen into confusion because of this, but used her own independent abilities and knowledge to assist Asians to fight against the deep unknown. and power-grabbing Commander Hoffman. Oh. And after seeing the resurrected Prince Elvis, and after knowing the truth behind the Black Pegasus team, Rhea decides to link up with Prince Elvis to fight against the Pegasus troop that Hoffman bring along with. And she swore to uphold to a belief all the way. So as of currently, I guess I guess end of the day, to certain chapters we might be coming back to Severy. It seems that based on the ways Ding said here, is that Hoffman has even bigger secrets hiding within. So okay, this is a speech from Rhea to Hoffman. Okay, well, gotta give me a little bit of time to think of it. Oh, the kingdom's bishop and commander are in discord privately. No matter where your source information came from, please believe in the heart of both of us, the benefit of Sabaric is the highest of authorities over everything. So I'm not sure if this is a speech of truth or there is still more than meets the eyes. We'll find out in the near future, perhaps. Then, okay. This is the chibi art of Rhea by Marcel Tuliana, Granda Curry, definitely very nice and cute. And overall, I gotta say, I like this new artwork from Echo of Toy War. Though, I'm definitely still a better fan of Mr. Urushiara Satoshi's art, but something new. Not to mention, this is like an independent art of story that has no link up with Mashu and Co yet. Hopefully, we'll be able to see more in the future. Just my thoughts. I know some fans may not like it, but then, well, you just got to keep the story going. And before we end this part, let's hear some speech from Rhea.
女王の手、レイヤ、召喚に応じ参上しました。セブリークの運命に関わることであれば、全力で取り組む所存です。女王の手、レイヤ、召喚に応じ参上しました。セブリークの運命に関わることであれば、全力で取り組む所存です。
Okay, sorry if that's very loud on the first one. I'm not sure if it's very loud. Okay, what she's saying is, okay, again, slightly loose translations. Okay, I'm gonna go the first one word for word first. So is hand of the Empress, Leia, has been summoned upon here. If it's regarding the fate of Sabaric, I will give it my all. So after translation is gonna be she's trying to tell who is she, so she's gonna be saying, I am the Emperor's hand, Leia, so I've been summoned upon here to assist you guys. If it's regarding the fate of Sabaric, I'll give it my all and fight for it. So that's it for part one. Sorry again, it took a little bit long, but well, You know me, my channel's like that, and we're going to part 2. Here we go. But I gotta say, she's very sexy. Waifu. Alright, now we're on part 2, and let us find out how much more Chitose and Brewhit will give us. Oh, sorry, I mean Rhea. Yep, again, the sexy waifu, and as usual, you can tell this is definitely Langrisser because of the asymmetrical things the guys or girls are wearing below their waist. Okay, we have some little more extensions about her. Again, is the first part, just gonna quick re-summarize. So, as the bishop of the kingdom and a person chosen by the Sword of Dawn, Leia rode on the Golden Pegasus to abide the Queen's will throughout the kingdom, and for the glory of the kingdom, she sprees throughout the land of Severick. But deep in her heart, there seems to hide other emotions and lingering within. So the last part, it's not talking about she is bad or what, but as much as the first part says she's like gonna fight and do everything for her queen Ashen, it's not like she's blindly following, or she's like an emotionless fighting robot. She has emotions and other thoughts, but for me, I'm still going to presume that she's definitely going to be a good person based on the background stories, especially with Ashen. Then again, it's Langrisser. We might not know, maybe at the end she might be the bad guy and Hoffman might be the good guy. I mean, I'm kind of sad like what they did to Empress Anya. Like, dang. So alright, faction buff, or from which faction? She belongs to following 3 factions: Glory of Light, Strategy, and Meteor. So currently, compared to Elvis, she is much weaker, but it's only on this current state, if I gotta say, because Glory of Light, she will be able to receive faction buff from LLR Bright Summoner, aka LLR Kreese. Then strategy wise, it has been quite a very long time. No one is using Grand Hill 3C, so strategy it's not shining for a very long time. Then as for Meteor, the 3C faction buff has not yet been released, but in a few months' time, it will be the CN server 7-year anniversary celebration. So maybe by then we will be able to see the Meteor 3C faction buffer coming out. But this is just a guess. So alright, this is her talent, and again, not too hard, I guess. Okay, so watch to the end of the video for the translation I've done for you guys, and here we go. The talent, loosely translated as Glory of Dawn. The effect are as follows. Number 1, increase attack and defense by 25%. Number 2, when you use skills, you will obtain a buff for 1 turn known as Dazzling Arista. We'll call it DA for short. DA buff provides the following effect. First, you will be immune to debuff effect. Second, you will reflect, unable to use active skills debuff. Third, the effect lasts for a turn and cannot be dispelled, but upon regaining the buff effect, you will refresh the turn count and increase the turn count by +1, the cap is at 5 turns. Number 3, if your skill manage to damage enemy target, buff turn you had will not be reduced, and you can move 3 blocks and attack again. Do note that act again effect will enter a CD of 2 turns upon triggering. So that's it for her talent. So I understand some confusion, and based on my understanding, I'm going to go through review based on my understanding, and of course we'll go through third part to find out more elaborations about how the things work. So first I'm going to say out of this current method, they're very strong. Both she and Elvis gain plus 25%, but Prince Elvis only gains attack increment of 25%. For Rhea, she gains both attack and defense by 25%. So 25 is a percentage amount as of the current method that is more than what a faction buff provides. Faction buff only provides 20%, and just a talent alone is 25. So you can imagine that's how high it is. Then second is regarding her dazzling Arista buff. Okay, so the buff will provide immune to debuff effect from enemies and perhaps allies too, as long as a debuff. But the second effect is she will only reflect silent skills, the silent debuff, which is unable to use active skills debuff back to the enemies. So she is kind of like her talent mixing with a lower tier Elma. So Elma has this mirror skills. Elma is from Langrisser Reincarnations, the female protagonist. So her mirror will reflect any debuff, whereas Rhea will only reflect silence debuff skills effect only, but she's immune to other debuff when she have this buff, Dazzling Arista, and this buff effect will only last for a turn, but it cannot be dispelled. However, upon regaining this effect, you'll refresh the turn count and increase the turn by +1. So the talent says when you use your skills. So I'm going to give a quick example. So currently you move 5 steps. Let's say if she has an act again skills, you cast act again. Let's say she is using chivalry. So you act again, you gain this buff. Then when you go towards the enemy target, you cast an AoE spells or single target skills. Instead of become after you end turn, the skills will be gone. These skills will be refreshed and become last 2 turns instead of 1 turn only. You can keep increasing and refreshing these skills as long as you keep using skills, and the cap limit is 5 turns, so we can increase up to 5 turns. And third is she has an inbuilt mechanism of act again. Is if your skills manage to damage enemies or enemy's target, buff turn you had will not be reduced, and you can move 3 blocks again and attack again. So you can you can make your DA buff last a little bit longer. And not to mention, I guess the best side is the act again abilities. Contrary to the usual characters, is that like Dragon Mama, I saw that is her act again skills is no matter what you do, she can only trigger act again once per turn. However, for Rhea, it's pretty cool. The act again will enter a CD of 2 turns upon trigger. So after you use this act again skills, when you enter, you enter 2 turns CD. So if you have characters like Liana or other or with Ashen double act again, that means in that same turn she can spam and refresh and use this skill. So if you combine with 2 to 3 other act again characters, I can think of a scenario. You have Action, you have Liana, and you have Florentia in the game. So 3 of them do a triple act again. This skills will be refreshed easily, and let's find out more if she have other act again skills provide for her. If she does, all you need is just 2 characters to go with. You can spam double act again for herself in the turn. This is like more efficient, definitely doable in PvE. So again, the good part about Rhea this time around is she has 3 exclusive skills, and one of them is transformation skills. Okay, exclusive skill 1, Eternal Days Oath. This is a 1C skills, a CD of 4 turns. The range itself, the AoE type is single target. So it's an active skills only. The effect are as follows. Number 1, upon casting these skills, you gain buff for 2 turns, known as Eternal Days Pledge. The buff will provide the following effect. First, increase skill range by +1. 2, if you do not have the buff effect, you can act again. After casting these skills. Third, act again mobility is based on remaining movement when using the skills. Fourth, buff turn count will not be reduced when using these skills. Okay, due to the strength of her talent, however, they still gave her an act again skills, but this is definitely a weaker act again in terms of movement. So this is definitely she has a inbuilt act again from a talent. Then she also has another skills that provide her with act again. So okay, all you need to do is just get 2 characters with act again, and she can just spam act agains in double act again in a 1-turn match. I mean, you also have characters like Celica's that can refresh all her use skills. So how great it is. Okay, so talking more about it is, after casting these skills, you have skill range increment by +1. So AoE skills will have a +1 range, so that's definitely very cool. The second effect might have some cons. Hear me out. It says if you do not have debuff effect, you can act again. And on her talent, it says after using skills, she will gain immune effect to debuff. So the problem is, if it's not her turn, at the start of a turn, when the game starts, so let's say in PvP, Rhea is on P2, the P1 we have characters like Awakener's Anthem, and bind Rhea, then proceed to get a faction buff. So Rhea will get a debuff effect. So when it's a turn, if you try to cast Eternal Days Oath, she will not gain act again. The second downside is the act again mobility is based on remaining movement when using these skills. So if Leia only move 5 blocks and you already move 5 blocks, when you cast these skills, she will only stand on the current block she's standing on, and you get to cast or use her skills from there. This means if the enemy is currently out of your range, then that's too bad. Okay, the great side is buff turn count will not be reduced when using these skills. I guess, well, they got to, since she already have inbuilt act again from talent, they got to downgrade a little bit from her skills. Okay, so as you can see, she has both Pegasus, Flyer Path, and Infantry Path. Okay, exclusive skill 2, and exclusive skill tree. So these two skills belongs to the same category because they're transformation skills. So we'll go with the first one, then followed by the second one. Okay. Both are known as darkness breaking blade. Darkness breaking blade. However, one is known as darkness breaking blade flash. The second one is known as darkness breaking blade judge. So we go through flash. Is a 2C skill CD now. Range is 3 blocks. AoE physical straight line. The effect are as follow. Number 1, deals 0.15 times AoE damage to enemies in 3x3 straight lines. It has both PvP and PvE effect. So we go with number 2, PvP effect first. These skills will cause damaged enemies to lose armor equipment effect, except max HP value for 2 turns. Number 3, PvE. These skills will instead reduce enemies debuff. You give a debuff effect that is to reduce enemies defense by 25% for 2 turns. Number 4, after casting this skill, change it to darkness breaking blade judge. So talk about blade flash first. So the great thing about the skills is this skills has no CD. You don't have to worry about it. You just keep switching. So you gotta be careful. Like if you want to cast the skills first or the other skills, you might need to spam it. So this might restrict your attack momentum. Okay. So this first skill is a 3x3 blocks AoE straight line effect that only deals 0.15 times. However, the good thing about this skill is in terms of PvP, it costs enemies to lose the armor equipment effect for 2 turns. Whereas they also provide an additional abilities for PvE, that is to reduce enemies defense by 25% for 2 turns. 25% is pretty high, I'll say. Not to mention this is just a 2C skills and not even 3C, and 25% usually they will just like reduce 15 to 20% in the past. Okay, so after using these skills, you transform it to breaking blade judge. So we go through a second one. Okay, darkness breaking blade judge again is a 2C skill, CD now, range 3. The AoE type is physical straight line, so it's a 1x3 straight line skills. The effect as follow. Number 1, deals 0.15 times AoE damage to enemies in a 1x3 straight line range. Number 2, when attacking with these skills, teleport yourself to the furthest range the skill can reach. Then cast and release the AoE skills Sword Dance. Number 3, after using these skills, switch it back to Darkness Breaking Blade Flash. Number 4, if these skills damage enemy, you will gain 1 additional DA buff effect. Okay, how cool it is. So apparently exclusive tree is not bad. The only downside is a 1x3 straight line. Again, it deals 0.15 times damage, but that's only on the outside because more to come. So this is teleportation skills, assisting you to advance forward, and the range is 3 blocks, so you can teleport to a maximum of 3 blocks after comboing with your act again from the other exclusive skill 1 skills, even if you lay stagnant there. So you can become a 5+3, so 8 blocks. So it doesn't matter whether you will damage enemy or not. These skills will teleport yourself to the furthest, if I'm not wrong. it says when you attack, but it did not say when you need to damage or not. Then after casting yourself to the furthest range, you then additionally cast AoE skills Sword Dance. So Sword Dance is a one ring or circle effect, but if you combine it with exclusive skill 1 that increase skills AoE skills range, you become a 2 ring or circle Sword Dance effect. So there's a lot. And in case you're wondering what is Sword Dance is the AoE skills that first came out from Emperor Bernhard, that deals 0.36 times AoE damage skills, physical damage skills, and enemies that got hit by these skills will not be able to heal for 1 to 2 turns. So you cause enemy to not be able to receive healing. So that's pretty cool. So it's a double, so you get 0.15 times damage, then follow up by a 0.36 times. That's a total of 0.51 times AoE damage. This is definitely Judge is definitely the stronger between the two, in my opinion. Okay, so far she has no other passives. None of her skills provide passive ability. It's a straight up AoE, and we have come to the end of second part soon because we'll be talking about the 3C. Okay, loosely translated as intertwining brightness of star rainbow. This skill set is a CD of 5 turns. The range itself, the AoE type is physical 1 ring or circle. Okay, it has both passive and active skills, and it has both effects for PvP and PvE. So right, we will go with the passive effect first. And sorry, one more thing to talk about exclusive skill tree, Darkness Blade Judge. I guess the better of the thing is the last part. As long as the skill damage enemies, you will gain an additional 1 DA buff. So this kind of increase her survivability because she'll be immune to debuff effect and able to remove certain reflect certain debuffs. So that's pretty cool. Okay, sorry, back to 3C, the passive skills. Intertwining brightness of star rainbow. Passive, number 1, if you have Dazzling Arista DA buff effect, when being attacked into battle, the following will happen. First, you will attack first. Second, you recover HP based on 20% of damage too. Oh, that's pretty cool. After battle. So I thought she's like only purely for survival for AoE. She's like a only AoE only, but Team Zilong do consider about some survival abilities of hers. But pros and cons. Cons is you gotta have DA buff first. If you don't have the buff, this passive it's just useless. So if you have DA buff, so when you're being attacked into battle, you attack first. So this definitely increase your chance of survivabilities, because higher chance we will just knock out enemies, troops, and then the hero's HP first instead of them attacking you. Then second is you recover your HP based on 20% of the damage dealt after the battle. So if it's a melee combat, you get attack first and you still survive. After the battle, you have some form of HP recovery. Is based on 20% of the damage deal. So luck base, if the damage you deal is a lot, you recover more. If not, not so good. Okay, active skills are as follows. Number 1, deal 0.36 times AoE damage to enemies, 1 ring or circle around you. Number 2, before dealing damage, for each turn count left, for the DA buff you had, you will steal one random buff from the enemies you damage. Okay, the max is capped at 3 buff each. Number 3, if DA buff turn count is no lesser than 5 turns, it will become one turn instead, while you gain the following buff effect for 2 turns. So this following buff you gain has 2 types. One is for PvP and one is for PvE. So we go with PvP first. First, after dealing damage, you will cause instant death to enemy with HP value below 15%. Second, this effect cannot be dispelled. Okay, for PvE, deal fixed damage that cannot be immune based on 20% of HP loss, but capped at a limit that is no greater than Rhea's attack times 5. So this means that if Rhea's attack is 1000, the max fixed damage that you can deal is 5000. So this is an example, but the great news is that this fixed damage cannot be immune. So not too shabby. So okay, so it seems there is some restrictions that the AoE skill is only 1 ring or circle. However, combining with exclusive skill ones, you increase the range to 2 ring or 2 circles instead. So this skill deals 0.36 times AoE damage to enemies 1 ring or circles around you. This is the base. Then the second effect is something more new, is a new mechanism or unique at least. It's for each turn count left for Dazzling Arista buff you had, you will steal random buff from the enemies. So okay, the Chinese word here says 每个目标随机一个强化效果. So it says every target 1 random buff, but it says maximum 3. So I'm not sure if it's the max buff you can steal is only 3 buff or 3 each. But to make things make more sense, I'm gonna presume is 3 buff max from each enemies you damage. Then third thing, which is you may or may not occur, is if Dazzling Arista buff turn is no lesser than 5 turns, so this means you need to be 5 turns, which is a cap. It will be automatically turned to 1 turn instead, but you gain the following buff effect for 2 turns. That is, well, for PvP wise, after dealing damage, you will cause instant death to enemies with HP values below 15%, and this effect cannot be dispelled. So this is pretty cool. The things that currently comes to my mind is if this Rhea can be able to combo with characters like Emperor Leo back. His talent is enemies will take like a fixed damage based on his attack when their HP value is below 20 or 15%. So if you're gonna have this follow up, will this trigger? If it's 15%, of course we have no use for. Oh, we definitely have use because Leo Bag has a buff effect that he can give to a contract abilities that he can give to allies that disregarding of HP percentage value, you do follow up. So let's say the enemy have 18% of HP value. So, okay, let's say 20%, and upon getting hit with this 3C, they are left with 16%, and at the same time the follow-up from little back fixed damage kicks in, and this caused them to drop down to 15% or below. Will this stack or kick in automatically? I guess we'll wait for other pros players to find out to see if this can happen. So that's it for the skills. We are now going to part 3, the last part, talking about pros and cons, the bonds, ways to spam the skills, the restrictions, and last but not least, item builds and enchantments suggestions for rare. Here we go. So alright, we're at the last part, and before we carry on, a great thanks to the information provided by the Langrisser Data Bank 梦幻模拟站资料库. Here we go. Yep, definitely a waifu. So as I have mentioned on the previous video, she and Elvis are currently considered at least the minimum grading is at least tier 1 as of the current meta. So an additional powerhouse for AoE team, we have Captain Commando, Captain and Baby, then we have Rhea, we have Butthead, and other characters. So that's, yep. And I guess she might be a great combo with characters like Lina Inverse from the Slayers collaborations. Okay, things you guys want to know is for Bond. Okay, to unlock a Bond, you do the usual Time Brief 3-6 and Elite 3-1. And for attack Bond, you just need to complete her Flyer Mastery. Only for defense Bond, she will need Hoffman. What the hell? I mean, like, seriously, you're the Empress. You're the Empress Guard, the Queen. Sorry, you're the Queen's Guard, the Empress hand, and action is not your option for unlocking Bond. How silly is this? Why is Hoffman is the one? That's very weird. Okay, this is the casting or rune emblems needed for unlocking her levels. So you can save up materials for it. And this is the class for both infantry and flyer. This is the stats. So in terms of HP and skill, which is for crit rate, infantry is the better options. And in terms of withstanding against magic attack, her magic defense is higher in flyer class. Offensive ability wise, both are the same. Okay, the hard bond effect. So the infantry is known as the Honor Bishop or Glory Bishop. Then for the flyer is known as the Brilliance Golden Black Wings. So okay, infantry class level 4 and level 7. Level 4, when receiving close combat attack, physical damage you take will be reduced by 10%. Level 7, increase AoE damage by 10%. Flyer class, when you initiate attack and go into battle, damage unit received reduced by 10%. Level 7, before you attack, for each block you move, increase damage dealt by 3%. The cap is at 15%. Okay, not bad. Both have their own benefits, but if I may say, the infantry has a bad option because when receiving close combat attack, there's higher chance that after you spam your AoE skills, enemies will attack you. But it's only for physical. Physical damage you take reduced by 10%. But at level 7, there is a AoE damage increment for her of 10%, whereas for fire class, it's you got to initiate and go into battle, but she is a character who spams AoE, so not that great, especially if you need to be the one to initiate an attack. The plus side is for each block you move before your attack, increase damage by 3%, so the max is 15%, which is more than infantry. However, you need to move, so in the event you suffer from terrain or debuff restrictions that stops you to move three blocks or more, you're not able to enjoy the benefit, whereas the AoE increment of 10% from infantry is a fixed and stable 10% increment. So if I may say, I feel the infantry might be the better options. I mean, there is some accessories and items that helps with mobilities, though you need a one-turn setup at least. Another mention, infantry has balance blade items where you can further increase the skill range of your skills, so there's more support. So okay, to prove and make sure that the translation is right, it says that Rhea's talent gave, after using active skills, she'll gain a one-time DA buff effect. So this buff actually allows her to give her immunity ability and reflect silent debuff effect, as seen in the clip below. So Egbert casts silence debuff, so you can see she's immune and she reflect debuff only to Egbert. So just now we have been talking about resetting or increasing the turn count of DA buff, so we are not talking about it. Each time you use an active skill, she'll regain DA buff and increase the turn count by +1, so maximum of 5 turns. Okay, this is actually a buff effect, so do note that it's a buff effect, even though it cannot be dispelled. However, you can restrict her from getting this debuff. So if you have debuff effect that stop her from gaining buff, she will not be able to obtain DA buff or reset and increase the turn count of the skills. So this is definitely one downside. So as you can see, the icon, the holy cross, red color cross, shield cross, is debuff effect that do not allow you to gain any buff. So you can see she's not able to gain it. So if you want to be safe, you might equip her with items that stops her from not able to receive buff from herself or allies. Okay, then it's talking about the skills. So when Rhea uses single target or AoE skills and damage enemies, after dealing damage, she can move 3 blocks and attack again. Okay, let's see again. She fight Kreese. So you got to attack Kreese with skills. So things to take note. Okay, this is a list of skills she had. And of course, we will find out more during the actual demo play. Okay, she has S/, definitely important characters. I guess normally in the Langrisser verse, correct me if I'm wrong, characters with S/ tend to survive, or at least they will survive longer in the game. And also they play important role. So right, she has passive skills, wind pressure. So then she also have a reinforcement, self-healing. And yep, to clarify with a 3C, stealing the buff from enemy. So all you need to do is let your DA to have three turns. Okay, as long as your DA buff is at 3 turns, all you need is just the max. You don't have to go up to 5. You'll receive the max ability to steal from each enemy 3 buff. So yep, it's every enemy 3 buff. So I'm gonna say this has great survivability and endurance for Leia. Then is when she has her DA buff at a max limit of 5 turns. After using the skills, the 3C skills, after battle, you'll cause enemy with HP value lesser than 15% to have instant death. Then for PvP is dealing fixed damage, cannot be immune. And after the battle, your DA buff turn will be reduced to 1 turn instead. So okay, this everything happening, the reduction of the DA buff is happening after the battle. Okay, this cool. What I have suggested early on, like comboing with characters like the Dark Emperor, Leonidas from the Zombie Kingdom, dealing the full of fixed damage. It can work and stack with Rhea because the instant death effect is the last to be triggered. So it's like fully after you finish everything and end turn, then this effect happen. You can kind of like the calculation phase happen. That is the last to happen. That's pretty cool. So the following clip shows that Leia brings the passive skills, wind pressure, and she brings the flyer attack weapon, Crimson Axe. Or when she's using bloodthirsty sword, how the effect triggers, so you can see. So followed by wind pressure. Okay, the 3C happen. And you can see she's fighting Elma 2.0 and from the light summoner. So as you can see, despite it says instant death, but if enemies have revive abilities, it will not override that. They will still die first and they still can resurrect. So this is not negate revive effect, just for clarifications. And number 2 again for regarding PvP. Oh, this instant death effect, this instant death effect in PvP actually works as the same as Seraphina from the Empire faction. In case you know who is Seraphina, she is the lady with the greatest burst currently in Langrisser verse 101 or 111. Oh gosh. So they are treated as fixed damage. So you can trigger items that allows you to survive from fixed damage. One is from the holy mage item, as you can see below, the brightness helm. I can't remember the name, but that the sacred brilliance happens and Arya survive from the fixed damage. So this one allows you. So there is definitely ways to counter it. And regarding how the effect calculations and turn works, in contrast with other healing or other damage abilities, so this is the following turn count. They're giving an example. The instant death and healing sequence. After you attack with your skills, let's say the enemies have crystal healing from Rose and Seals. First is healing will trigger. Those is like Rose and Seals and SP theories. The healing will trigger first, and the instant death is the last to happen, or the instant death will happen later on. So heal first, instant death calculations calculated later. But since Leia has Sword Dance effect from one of the 2C skills, and not to mention she's able to steal 3 buff from enemies, so there's a high chance that you can ensure that the enemy will not be able to survive easily. So okay, as seen in the clip here, so this is from SP Thierry's healing. So use 3C to fight Jessica. Jessica will heal first, and because of that, the instant death did not the instant death did not trigger. Then regarding exclusive skill 2 and 3, there are skills that has no CD, so that's pretty cool. So this means that if you try to combo with Celica, you'll steadily refresh your exclusive skill 1, act again skills, and also your 3C skills if needed. So these are skills without CD and they can just switch around, so this is pretty cool. This means that Leia will definitely and always have skills to use and spam every turn, as long as she's not being silent. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. The only downside is if you do not calculate properly, the sequence or the skills that you want may not be the one you intended to use, because 2 and 3 will switch around. So you gotta be careful about this, but that's all. Then we'll be talking about Darkness Breaking Blade Judge. So apparently they're not talking about Flash, but talking about Judge. So when using these skills, Leia will release a straight line AoE damage of 0.15 times, and afterwards followed by a complete sword dance effect. So what they're saying is actually you can long story short treat it as this is an extended version of sword dance. It's not 2 skills, it's a one-shot effect. It's, if I may suggest, it sounds like Awakens 3C. You thought she's dropping 6 different meteor onto the target enemy, so normally it should be 1 meteor, then you get healed and then followed by a second, but it's not. It's a full animation. It's a full one-shot complete animations. There's no in-between sequence, so you just treat it as it's an extended version of sword dance. So it's just a skills that display in 2 animations, that's all. So when using these skills, whether it's your straight line AoE or the sword dance that damage enemies afterwards, as long as either of the skills deal damage to enemies, you will be able to trigger your act again from the talent. And stacking on, resetting and increasing the turn count of your DA buff. So you can see from this clip, so she's left with 2, then she increased to 3. Sword dance and gain 4. Okay, this is a bit BS. Okay, I mean, the reason I said that, despite we say Darkness Breaking Blade to Sword Dance, the judge skills is extended of Sword Dance, but it's still using of 2 skills. I mean, she's gaining. Oh no, sorry, my bad. It is one charge, because after casting the skills, she gained 1 more additional DA buff. If not, she should be gaining 5 buff and up to 5 buff in the following animations. So yeah, this is correct. So after the whole animation sequence, the skills provide 1 more buff. And in case you're wondering if these skills can do a double stack with wind pressure, the answer is no, because this is a 1 extended skill, so wind pressure will not be released 2 times, it will only be released once after the sword dance is cast, then wind pressure will come in. So it's not when you cast teleportations, do 1 time wind pressure, followed by sword dance and 1 more wind pressure. Nope. However, this can stack with the weapon Crimson X. For Crimson X wise, it will deal 2 times fixed damage. So I'm not sure if this is going to be a bug, or will they fix or will patch it up later on. But well, for now you can stack with this. So you see, 2 times. So you see, enemies not at full HP, teleport over, 1 damage, Crimson X, followed by Sword Dance, a second Crimson X. So I'm not sure if Zilong will fix this, but as of current meta, it worked this way, which I gotta say is not fair. That's too in bar. Okay, then again, there's still some benefits. If enemy has skills effect like crystal healing or healing from SP theories, this skills is treated as two separate skills again, because you take a 0.15 times straight line AoE followed by sword dance, then you get healed 2 times. So we're gonna ignore the fact that enemies gonna get no healing debuff. We just treat it as a skill damage first, as you can see in the mentions. Okay, she's attacking Rose and Seals. So Rose and Seal get healed 2 times. Personally, I suspect this might be a bug, and or just some computing sequence. They might or they may patch it in future. Just speculations. Exclusive skill 1, again nothing much. We've explained everything. Then okay, some sequence of the way the skills that Leia will bring, so that she can achieve full stack buff of 5 turns from her DA buff, so she can trigger the instant death fixed damage skills. So on the first turn you use Darkness Breaking Blade Flash first, then you end turn, because you do not damage enemies, your talent do not trigger again. Then on second turn you cast your Act Again skills, then you move Claw, and then you cast Judge, so you gain 3-4 stacks, then you cast your 3C, which will achieve 5 stacks first, then at the end it becomes 1 stack, so you can trigger instant death effect. Okay, the following is an animations of how the sequence is going to work. I will showcase you guys. As you can see, that's the combo sequence from Leia. So she is a character that will need, if under normal situations without Act Again from allies, she need a one turn setup before you can do that. But this whole full combo can be done from second turns onward, as long as there's enemies in the range for her to hit and damage. Okay, we have come to the end. So this is the items build suggested for her in PvP and PvE. So suggested to go with Full Moon in PvE and Magic in PvP to achieve maximum damage, because she do not really need Claw, because of the fact that exclusive 2 and 3 skills are switching skills, and transformation are switching skills. They do not have CD, so it may be a waste. But then again, if it's for the fact of 3C, I may suggest you can try with that to stack with Celica, but that's just my opinion. I will definitely try to follow this suggested method. So yep, you can go with either that. And you can also see some of a list of higher tier and great soldiers, SP or not, for her. And yep, PvP and PvE. So for flyer wise, any accessories that can give max damage for her, but for infantry is more fixed, either wear boots or the angelic boots accessories, then Tear Fury, then Bloodthirsty Sword. Though one thing to take note is Bloodthirsty Sword has only a 50% chance to trigger fixed damage, but if you want to further increase the range, Balanced Blades is the better options. Then for fire class, Crimson Axe will allows you to do additional follow-up fixed damage, as we have seen on the recommendations in the animation just now. So alright, we have come to the end. Thank you guys for watching. What did you guys think about Rhea's ability? Is it good, normal, or bad? Leave it down in the comment sections below. See you guys on next part, the demo play. And great news or bad, or not so good or great news, I may be skipping this banner, not that I think they're weak or whichever reason, because we are going to be welcoming our collaborations with Fairy Tail on the next banner. So this is coming. See you guys on the live play. Goodbye.